I keep it inside of me. Yeah, I keep it inside. It's killing the man in me. Yeah, it's killing the man. I keep it inside of me. Yeah. Hello, and welcome to the Crisis of Manhood Podcast with me, your host, Peter Mukuka. This is a space where we dive into deep conversations about manhood. And today we'll be looking at yet another interesting topic, looking at purpose, what makes men fulfilled. And I'm joined by very good friends of mine that will be helping me to discuss this topic. I'll give them time to introduce themselves. Uh, Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, and please
Thank you.
Introduce yourselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the invitation. We're glad to be here.
Mhm.
I think I'll start introducing myself.
Please.
Since I'm on the other end,
Yes.
and he's on the middle, he introduce himself as well. My name is Winter Moba, known as Winmore, the leadership coach, and I am an author. Soon launching my first book on the 1st of June. The name of the book is called Engaging the Private Parts of the Leader. All right, and I am also a speaker, and I'm a co-founder of Asset, Public Service and Site Team, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Wood Lovers Destination. That's a brief about me.
Amazing.
Yeah, sure.
Interesting.
It is, yeah. I'm surrounded by authors.
Yeah, Matthew Msonda is my name. I'm the founder and CEO of Asset. I'm also an award-winning educationist or educational innovator. I'm an author. I've published about 5 books now, and they're all on the market. I do a lot of media stuff. You can actually check me out. My handles are just my name, Matthew Msonda. Yeah.
Wow. I think that's him being humble, but yeah, we know that he does a lot of stuff. I think one of the things that that really inspires me about Mr. Msonda is just his passion for community work and entrepreneurship and development. I think that's something that is really amazing. And I trust and believe that through this conversation, we'll be able to learn a lot. And obviously, at the end of today's episode, he'll be sharing more about his contacts and some of the books that he has authored and where you can be able to access those books. But for now, I think we can get into the discussion for
sure.
today. So, gentlemen, and I think this question goes to both of you. How would you personally define purpose?
Yeah, allow him to start.
Purpose can be defined in many ways. I'll first begin by establishing at least 2 or 3 things that are involved in purpose. One, a man must have something that he stands for. Okay? A man must have values and must have beliefs. So these 3 things are very important to make up purpose. So you must also understand why you exist here on earth. When you know the reason why you exist, it will be very easy for you to know what you stand for, what you believe, and your values. So when you have all these 3 things as a man, it's simply easy for you to identify your purpose and also exert influence and impact upon others out there.
Yes.
Well, when you read Webster's dictionary, actually, it mentions about purpose. It's a reason for something, an end. So many books actually have talked about purpose. Others, it's not about life purpose. Others could be that you should always do something with a purpose, meaning you should have an end goal of something. What are you trying to achieve? That is a very purpose of something. If you're going to buy a shoe, you are thinking that shoe has got a purpose why you're buying it. When you buy whatever that you're buying, there's a purpose to it. So when you think about purpose, you should think about it in that end. What is the end goal? What is the end goal of what of a particular thing? The reason for it. That's purpose. Yeah. But if you want to bring down to life purpose, then you translate that to say, okay, what is the end goal of your life? What is the basic primary reason why you're existing as a person? And it could be a woman, or it could be a man. Yeah.
Amazing. That's great wisdom there. I think one of the biggest challenges that we
face as men is just trying to identify your purpose.
Exactly.
And I see as one of the contributing factors to where some of the men have ended up committing suicide, because at that point, when somebody reaches that point, is obviously meaning they have lost their purpose. They don't know why they exist and their purpose in life. And so, thank you for those insights. How would someone know that they found their purpose?
I'll get back to what I mentioned. Knowing what you stand for, your values, and also your beliefs. So from that end point, how would someone know that they have discovered their purpose? You see, there is no purpose without having to influence other people and also impacting people. So I will only know that I found my purpose, one, if I am happy and I feel fulfilled, and the things that I do are exerting influence and impact upon other people. Okay. You see, finding a purpose brings a certain kind of happiness and peace in you, because you're doing something that is bringing fulfillment. So today, if I discover that my purpose is to be a leadership coach, as in one of those branches of my end goal, as the why I live. Every time I coach people into leadership and they become better because of my efforts and my contribution in their lives, I'll feel at peace and I'll be happy. So I think these are one of the things that you can identify and see that, okay, I'm beginning to know my purpose, because everything I'm doing is making me happy, giving me a sense of peace, and also it's changing lives out there. Let me give an example. When you look at a tree or a mango tree, okay, though it's not like human beings, they end up feelings and the like, but at the time when it begins to produce its fruits, okay, we all benefit from it, isn't it? And in that regard, you know its value and you appreciate it and give it that important care. So even human beings, when you discover your purpose, your reason, when that time comes when people have to benefit from you and are impacted from you, they always see your value as a person. And when they see your value, they will celebrate you. And like we see celebrities out there, they'll celebrate you and you feel a sense of peace, sense of fulfillment, and the like. And in that way, you'll be able to know that I'm living in my purpose. Yeah.
Any additional thoughts?
Well, I just wanted to amplify on the thoughts you shared. How do you know that you have found your purpose? I think it's when your why to life is stronger than your career. So when your why to life is stronger than any other beliefs, people don't have you could be doing. There are people even become very successful in career. They become successful at business, but they don't have a purpose. They don't have their why, which is the reason for existence. I think the other thing in line with what he said is the experience of fulfillment. When you have discovered your purpose, sometimes you will not even be aware that you're actually doing your purpose. But when you're doing something that you're meant for, when you're doing that reason of your existence, there is that feeling of the experience of fulfillment. I don't know how to verbalize it, but you will feel satisfied to the level that you are ready to even die, to a point that even when you die doing that thing, you feel very satisfied. When you reach that state, you can certainly assume, because we don't know precisely, but you can assume you have started discovering or experiencing that part of your purpose.
Nice. Yeah, and those are very great points that you bring out there. Have any of you guys ever gotten to a moment where you felt lost, like you didn't know why you existed at any point of your life? And if so, how did you get out of it? How did you maneuver through it?
Definitely. There's always that point where you just feel like nothing is happening. Even currently, there are days when you feel like, I think this is nothing. Okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm not seeing any result of what I'm doing and the like. But there was the most definite point I can remember. I think it was almost at the same time. Okay, someone 2016, 2017, somewhere there, when we were so much into life purpose, trying to discover our personal life purposes as friends. And that is the point when we're trying to discover ourselves, discover our strengths and our abilities and our capabilities. And things were not moving according to what we wanted. It's like a lost moment. You're on crossroads. You're trying to decide which road you want to go to, but you don't know which one is the right one. Okay, that is the experience we had. And trust me, what helped us, or personally what helped me, is at least recognizing and acknowledging the existence of God, where you have to call upon God and pray to guide you which direction is the right one. While you explore different means, while you explore different things, you still pray to God and ask for Him to guide you. And if it were not for God, trust me, that vacuum that we were in or I was in, you can easily, like you said in the first statement, even think about suicide. Think like you are worthless and the like. I personally experienced it, and sometimes it comes us being in business and being entrepreneurship.
Things are tough.
Very tough. Sometimes you feel like, no, I think this is not it. Let me stop this and I just. But you have nowhere to go anyway. You still come back and the like. But I think the most important thing, even as he adds more wisdom on that, is remembering and acknowledging God in that vacuum. It's always there, but remember God.
Yeah, I think I experienced a series of moments when I could always question myself: why am I existing and why am I living? But that was early enough. I thank God that it was early enough. I think for me, I've been intrigued by the why of things. So from childhood, I was always asking why. Why is this thing existing? Why are people following a pattern? Go to school, be born, go to school, after school marry, wait, have kids, retire. I want to understand the why of things. And I reached that point of my life when after high school, when I was really reflecting, what is it that I will do beyond career? There could be something more. So that moment was a very tricky moment. I had a lot of questions, and I would ask mom, I would ask the best friend to my dad, because I lost my dad when I was in grade 8. So I would always question him, what is this? And sometimes he wouldn't answer. So what really helped me in that period was when I was in that season of trying to figure out what is it that is in my life. What is that one thing that I would do? I resorted to studying books, studying the Word of God, and also praying, and also consulting, paying attention to what is going around me. What are the patterns of my past experiences? Because when you look at your life, even things that you never intended, even things that you never planned, you will realize that they're shifting you towards one direction. There's one particular message. Life is speaking to you. It always sends those signals, but we're too blind to see. So it's that thing. And sometimes even God, I will tell you that from my own experience, sometimes God made me experience failure so that He redirects me to where I'm supposed to be, even when I didn't deserve failure. So it is paying attention to those moments, experiences, studying and meditating and praying that made me come out of that season of confusion.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I really love about this conversation is that like it's a candid conversation. Like it's coming from not sugar coated, but just as it is, because when you talk of, one of the things that we find so hard to find it hard to talk about is, as especially us as men, is failure. And just acknowledging that I'm not sure about my purpose in life. Like I don't know where I'm going. And sometimes even when you feel like you've discovered what you are meant to do, if I can put it like that, or rather your purpose, hardships can still be there. And sometimes when you get into those hurdles, you may feel like maybe I'm in the wrong space. Like maybe this is not what I'm meant to do. So maybe moving on from some of those challenges in terms of what we've discussed. What do you think? What do you think is the best approach, or if you can talk of practical steps that can help, especially since we're talking about men, can lead someone into finding their purpose or discovering their purpose? What are some of those steps that they can take? What advice can you give to someone who is going through those challenges?
You add on to that. Let me begin. I'll begin with a few steps. Finding your purpose is not easy. Okay, being a human being, we must understand something. Even the mics that we are using right here were made by somebody. Okay, and they have got a purpose. This purpose is being used right now. The sound may be audible to the listener. Are we together? And when it was bought, in that box there was a manual which guided on how these things must be connected and how they must be used, where the switch is, and how you can connect it to the source and the like. But without that manual, it was possible we would have destroyed these things from the day that you bought them. Now, it's the same thing with a human being. We are created beings, okay, by God. So it's important for us to acknowledge our source. So the first step, ask God. Now, did we know that both God and the devil himself have got a purpose for us?
Interesting.
Yes, the devil has a purpose for us.
Okay.
So does God. So the question is, who are you going to choose? Which purpose are you going to choose? So if you acknowledge God, it simply means you're accepting God to guide you in the purpose which He has already prepared for you before you were born. And if you choose the devil, you will still accept the purpose of the devil which He has chosen for you before you were born. And you're going in that line of destruction. So you must first begin asking God. There's just that magic, not magic, but that miracle which God does in your life. He guides you. All right. Then the other thing which you need to consider is to identify your strengths as a person. Identify your personality. Where are you stronger? Okay. You'd identify your strength so that you may know how you can operate in line with your purpose, how you can impact the community, how you can contribute to your society, how you can contribute in your environment where you are, at home or at school, at the company where you work and everything. Those strengths will be like one step that will help you discover your area of purpose. Okay. There are many things that maybe I will give him a chance to also add on the issues of passion and the like, and also probably give the formula which can put everything together. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping we're also going to talk about the importance of purpose for men singularly, because men are the foundation of society. As God, when He was creating, He first began by creating Adam. So where the man does not understand purpose, it becomes confusion everywhere. But since the question is about how to find purpose, what I would say is there are a number of people that don't believe in God, that will refute what my brother said. Say, no, I don't believe in God, but I can have a purpose without God. I think what I can say to those is that since you're not believing in God, and no one use the word God in the vocabulary, it's you must first begin by paying attention to your conscience. Every one of us, we have got a conscience, that inner voice that tells us when something is wrong. As long as you haven't polluted, I'm thinking, no, a normal human being who hasn't exposed themselves to some wrong over and over, they still have got that voice that regulates them. So that voice alone proves that there is a power beyond you. Because when you listen to that voice, you realize that that voice is not you. Because if it was you, you wouldn't be listening to it. You will be the one participating, but there is you, then there is that voice that is talking. Actually, there are two voices. There'll be that one that will tell you something and another voice that tells you. What that entails is that there are superpowers that are behind. There are those voices that are telling you things. And even when you reduce it further, you're going to realize that interest, for instance, you are interested in things naturally. There are things that intrigue you naturally. You are a love of nature. Not because you are forcing to love nature, but it excites you naturally. So there are a lot of things that you realize that life that doesn't fall within your power. There's always something away from you. So where do we begin if you talk about purpose? Listen to those things. Do you have interests that intrigue you? Do you have what does that voice repeatedly tell you? And what that means, it drives back to the same point. Since that voice is not you, who else do you think that voice is? There is a creator who has put up rules. There is a creator who has put up regulations. He's trying to even regulate your life. Even if you don't know him, he's trying to guide you. So you need to go in this direction. You need to listen to your interests. So begin to pay attention to that. What are your convictions in life? What often do you feel needs to be done? When it is not done, you feel pained. And that is when our passion comes in. When you ask God, since you don't want to talk about God, and if you're a Christian, you can go direct and pray about it, but it goes beyond praying. Even if you're a Christian, pay attention to your conscience, your convictions. But people, when they talk about passion, usually they are referring to things they love. Passion is beyond that. Passion, if you are just talking about the things that you love, what if something bad happens? Or probably you're gonna feel bad. But the passion goes beyond, because the energy to stand that even that which you love, there should be something that pains you about what you love, so that you can put effort. So passion has got 4 characteristics. and that I want to highlight because they are key to the discovery of purpose. We have got, what is it that hurts you about life? What is it that when you see it not being done, it pains you? I love the Bible because I'm a Christian. The Bible tells us that when Jesus looked at Jerusalem and saw the sin of the Israelites, indeed, he cried. And what was paining him at that point was the sin. What was his purpose? He came to redeem us from sin. Do you have one area in your life that pains you, that you feel you can contribute? You don't sleep, it wakes you up at night. Pay attention to that. And then we have got, do you have things that you are good at? You know, people are good at many things. And sometimes because something comes naturally to you, and you're good at it, you don't really consider and pay attention to those things. You actually ignore. Those could fall in what he classified as strengths. Do you have things that you are good at? Whether you like it or not, that is not the question. The question is, are you good at something naturally? Because God can't deposit something in you for nothing. Those things that you are good at, they point at a certain direction of your life, and you need to connect the dots. So you have got things that hurt you about life, things that you are good at, and then we are looking at what is your number one dream. Not the sinful dream, because you know people can dream. Their biggest dream is to go rob a bank. That is not what we are talking about. But you know, there are things that you feel you can do for the world, for the family, for people around you, for the community, which you feel like I shouldn't die before I do this. And if you are given an opportunity and the resources, that's the only thing that you can do. So you add that, you know, look at what hurts you about life, what you are good at, and then add that number one dream, and on top, what you love. When you add that, it defines your passion. And when you look and study and look at what that conviction, that conscience tells you, and you go ask God, it leads you into a direction of purpose. And lastly, what I would highlight is now pay attention to your talents. What talents has God given you? Sometimes it may be difficult to figure out all the things that I've mentioned, but your talents are signals, because talents are like tools. They are tools that God give you to fulfill that mission, that purpose that you have been given. Some of us have got the talent to speak. You know, problem is that we have the problem that is there in society is that people don't know what a talent is. So when you talk about talent, you're thinking about football. That is not a talent, that is a skill. You know, if footballers use a talent of intelligence, and most footballers have got what we call psychomotor intelligence, which makes them to move the body parts, their legs and everything else. That is what they use to manage. That is the talent in the skill of football. So what talent do you have? Do you have certain levels of intelligence? Do you have certain levels that you're able to pick certain things? Are you able to write? Are you able to speak well? Talents are in so many areas. When you realize your talents and you know what your passion is with all those four elements, and you ask God, definitely your purpose will be so clear, and you know the direction in which you are. In summary, what we are saying is this: what formula you're going to use to discover a purpose? It is, asking God plus your passion plus your giftedness, which are your strengths, your, talents. That equals to life purpose.
And just to add on what he has said, when you identify that formula, which he has mentioned, one thing you must notice that many things like your talents, your passion, and the like, everything you do make up your purpose. They are branches, like one tree, okay? And tree has got branches which bring out fruits and the like. So those branches, for example, I am a speaker, okay? One branch. I am an author, one branch. I'm a leadership coach, one branch. I'm an entrepreneur, one branch. But all those things harmonize in purpose to ensure that my ultimate goal as a person is fully achieved. Then the other challenge we have with most people, young people here in this country, I'm speaking about Zambia, of course, we love to live conventional, okay? We don't want to live according to our purpose, because sometimes we feel ashamed of what we are good at. Sometimes because I feel like I am good at this and there's this popular thing out there, I will not focus on this, let me focus on the popular thing. We behave like a common businessman in Zambia, where today you hear that no, rice is selling fast. Everyone in the community is ordering rice. Yeah. No clothes for Salaula are selling fast. Everyone will be ordering clothes for Salaula and the like. That is how most young people behave. So if they see that, okay, There are many people today making money out of public speaking. They want to be public speakers.
Yeah.
Okay? Many people are making money out of this. They want to be that. No, identify your purpose, regardless of how uncommon it may be. Live in it.
Yeah.
Live with it and ensure that you grow. When you grow, it simply means that you're going to have a unique impact to the community. I think when we address this issue, we're going to have many young people, especially the men, okay, especially the men out whom we are addressing at this moment. They must ensure that they don't feel ashamed of what they are called for. They do not feel ashamed with their purpose, their passions, their talents, and what they're gifted in terms of intelligence.
Yeah.
Let them exert and that influence. Explore. Don't just sit down and be sleeping and watching Netflix all the day without exploring. Explore and ensure that you exert a certain level of impact. We are gifted in many ways. As we are speaking right now, there's the cameraman capturing us, isn't it? He has got a line of purpose. Without him, we won't be heard out there.
Yeah.
Okay, and there lies his power of impact. There lies our power of impact, even as we interview us with this wonderful podcast. There lies your power and your influence with regards to your purpose. So all of us, we have got a space. Regardless how you feel about your calling, it is still important.
Wow. I feel like this is information overload for me, and I'm sure even for our viewers as well. You bring out so many important points, and maybe my next question would be, even maybe for someone else who's wondering, can you live a life of purpose without money or career success?
Yes, you can.
Definitely you can. Money, of course, makes purpose easier to achieve. And that depends on the purpose that you have. The Bible says money answers all things, but money is not a determinant of purpose. Because there are so many examples of people who are poor and they lived their purpose. The challenge that we have in this generation is that when people are talking about purpose, everybody is equating it with success
And money.
and money. So whenever you see someone with money, those are purpose.
Living.
And when you are poor, then you have no purpose. Let's not confuse those things. Money is not purpose. Purpose is not money. So even if purpose can bring you money, and even money can make purpose easier. So it's very possible to live your purpose without even money, to embark on that journey of purpose, because purpose is different. Like you mentioned, I would love to elaborate further, like I've articulated in my book, Pursuing a Better Pursuit.
Yeah.
The life purpose is split into life duties. That is how purpose is done. So every age of your life, there is a life duty that you must fulfill in line with your purpose. I love to use the example of Jesus Christ. So, when you ask people, what was the purpose of Jesus? The answer is that Jesus came to die. That was not his purpose. His purpose was not to die, because if his major purpose was to die, he would have died even when he was a kid.
Yeah.
The major purpose of Jesus was to redeem us from sin. Now, redemption comes with a lot of elements. So in that redemption, he needed to show us the way. And the final duty of the redemption was to die actually and resurrect and come back and then take us. So purpose has got branches, and you must realize that at every age you'll be called to fulfill a certain duty. That's why I'm saying you can live your purpose without money, because there will be a stage of a particular duty that aligns with your purpose that does not require money, and it just requires your commitment.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the truth. When God gives you a purpose, He has aligned resources necessary for you to use to achieve that particular purpose. And the best example, the world example that you can actually give, if you read the Bible, is the life of Moses. To answer that question, Moses was raised in the palace. He was given the best education. The Bible tells us that he was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, so meaning all the courses that they had. He had more than 16 academic degrees. He was a military general. He was a great poet. But yet when God called him for his purpose, He made him move from wealthy to poverty. And then we have got the opposite example, Joseph, who was moved from poverty to wealthy. These two, they were both accomplishing that which they were meant for, but in different environments, in different situations. So commitment will enable you to actually discover and also fulfill your purpose. That's all you need. The rest of other resources, God is gonna provide. Even the world will respond to you in a particular way, and those things gonna come by your commitment, your dedication, and your discovery of it are the key factors.
Yeah. To add on to what you said, which is very, very, what you said is actually what we mostly ignore. We attach so much purpose to money. And let me elaborate and also explain more on the life duties. You see, life duties begin when you are young, okay? God has designed a purpose for you. And it doesn't mean that your purpose will be fulfilled until that day when you become wealthy. What if you die poor? Okay, does it mean that God never assigned a purpose for you? There's a purpose for you still. So we should not attach money to fulfilling purpose. Of course, we know when you receive a message of you have received money, that's like a feeling. We know that. You just feel good. Some people, when they make money, even their step changes, they begin pointing at people with the car keys, you do this, do that. They feel so, so good. And so money is sweet and they like. But that feeling that you have over receiving a lot of money is not a fulfillment of purpose. Far from it. Okay? So what we must understand that in every opportunity that you are given to life, you are not only learning and building towards your ultimate fulfillment, but you are also fulfilling purpose. As a young child under the roof of your parents, as a young man under the roof of your parents, you can still fulfill certain elements of your purpose through your life duties. What are you doing in that house while they are keeping you? That will make that environment for your parents very smooth and easier to manage. It's purpose also, building you towards that. When you're out of your father's home, when you go to university, when you go to college, what are you doing to ensure that that atmosphere and environment in that college and university is made well? Are you changing a life in that environment through your life duties? In those stages, even as you go out of college and university, go into the society, you are employed by a wonderful company, what are you doing? That is now before you make your own money, isn't it? What are you doing within your line of purpose to ensure that even your colleagues whom you are working with can see that you are a man of influence, can say you are a man of impact? Are they benefiting from your existence? The problem is that even when we are growing in leadership, growing in maybe academic excellence and the like, we want to benefit from what we find instead of making what we find benefit from us. Okay? And that's a challenge with us. And we end up missing the opportunity to impact a human being through our purpose. So don't wait until you find money. That is when you feel fulfilled. It's like you're saying, no, you see someone on Facebook helping the poor. Then like, I can't wait when I make money. And then I'm also going to help. It's not like that. Purpose is also the same way. Don't wait until you feel like you have a lot of money. That's when you're going to live a life of purpose. Every opportunity given at every age, at every stage in life, there is an element of purpose fulfillment. And we must not ignore that. And I would encourage those who are listening right now to ensure that they pay particular attention. Let them be very intentional. You may be a college student right now. Be intentional about your life. Understand what is going on around you. Begin to impact people. Get busy. Don't just be in, for example, in university doing nothing. Get involved in clubs. Get involved in campus ministries. Get involved in those opportunities that will give maybe even leadership opportunities. All those things. Don't just be a dormant person or a busybody doing nothing. Of course, as a young person, you can also club and do these things, but I would advise you to focus on things that build you in your purpose than wasting your energy for worthless things. In that regard, it will simply show that money is not the thing that will show and define purpose, but it will be only one thing that will enhance you and help you exert more impact with that resource. Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking, I was gonna add, I think when you look at everything that we do, you will realize that when there's a purpose attached, the level of impact, the level of fulfillment, we are talking about experiencing fulfillment as men, will be deeper. We should also avoid copying things as young people, as people. You're doing this wonderful podcast. I see, this man is talking about me. I'm also going to start a podcast to talk about girls. I'll just change it a little bit. You are doing it because you feel there's a gap that pains you. You are trying to fill up that gap. The level of impact which you are going to create through this work will be far much better and to give you fulfillment. But when you are copying, there is no element of fulfillment there. And even when you feel like you're a failure. You can't even persist when things get harder because there's no element of purpose. So what I wanted to emphasize is that you can even do the same things that everybody else is doing. As long as there is a purpose attached, that thing aligns with the purpose, you're going to create a difference in the world. The challenge is when you're copying things and doing things and there's no purpose aligned. That's why we have many comedians, but each comedian is going to impact you in a different way. Yeah. We have got many teachers, but each teacher is going to impact you in a different way. The challenge is when you want to do things that don't align with your purpose, you're just doing for the sake of doing. There's a problem there. You're going to create a vacuum. Yeah. And there's a book by one of the psychologists I follow in our field is The Man's Search for Meaning. There he talks about logotherapy and he talks about the vacuum, existential vacuum. Everybody has got that vacuum. And we try to fill it with alcohol. We try to fill it with different vices. Even women, as men, you're gonna go get 20 women, girlfriends. Yeah. That vacuum will never be filled. Because that vacuum that you're experiencing only needs to be filled by purpose. So it's very important that men discover their purpose. That's why men are abusing young girls. It is because they have got no purpose in them. They have that vacuum which they're trying to fulfill, and they can't feel it. They can't see. We have got so many. Well, even when it comes to defining manhood, I know it could be a conversation that we may have on a different day. But that defining manhood, many societal views about defining manhood, it drifts away from the purpose. No, a man must give me so much money. A man must have muscles. A man must have six-pack. All that, you can have a man with six-pack. You can have a man with many girls, but it's still purposeless. And as long as they are not fulfilling a purpose and God put them as a foundation, society breaks down.
Yeah, that's so deep. I think we should take a break. Need to process. But gentlemen, thank you so much. When you're talking about something very deep, I think time really flies. I think you bring up so very important key points, and I hope that many of us will be able to learn from that and be able to move with that in search for purpose. Because I know, and maybe that will take me to my next question. I know there are a lot of people who are even above 30 that are still searching for purpose. So is there an age limit to discovering a purpose where you can say, I think you are late to have discovered your purpose?
There's no age limit.
Okay.
But here is how I'm going to address it. You see, it's very important for us to understand that every age which you reach has got certain responsibilities, and they will never come again. Not only responsibilities, but opportunities. The opportunity you have at 20 years, you never have it at 21. The opportunity you have at 21, you never have it at 30. Okay, and also the level of responsibility grows as you grow. Okay, there's something which also you love saying that, you see, when you are younger, the world can forgive you when you excuse yourself, when you fail to do certain responsibilities. But when you grow, the excuse which a 40-year-old man will give against one responsibility which a 20-year-old will give, a 40-year-old man won't be forgiven by the world. Okay? If you're 40 years and you don't live within your purpose and you don't have certain things, they'll ask you, where were you? You get the point.
In your 20s, what were you doing?
What were you doing in your 20s? Such things. But doesn't mean it's too late. It's still, you still have the opportunity to do something. Take, for instance, is it KFC, where we see discovered his business and his formula of fried chicken at 60 years old. Grab the opportunity. As long as you're alive, make sure you discover your purpose as early as possible. It has got more advantages than you would when you grow up. You can actually impact more people when you do it earlier. Okay? That is one thing we must understand. But aside from that, it's not that we're trying to discourage. You can still discover your purpose even when you grow. Okay? Even when you reach 40, 50, you can still discover your purpose and feel that vacuum which you have always had. That is why even when you look at God, the way he looks at us, he never gives up on us because he understands the potential that we have. He looks at us in a certain way. He views us whom we can become than we are right now. That is why he can even give you more years until you repent. At 40 years, you can repent and still feel happy with the relationship that you have with your God. It's the same thing with purpose. You can still be at 40, But if you have the opportunity to discover your purpose, and when you discover it, you still feel fulfilled as you would when you discovered it at 20 years old. Okay, but in inverted commas, ensure that if you have the opportunity and you are young and you're listening right now, discover your purpose now, because the opportunities you have today, you will never have them tomorrow. Let me give an example. Though from talking about money and purpose here, those who are rich today, the Elon Musk, the Bill Gates, and the like, they discovered those things in their early stages. Are you getting the point? And today their impact is felt in the entire world. Most of the inventors, most of the innovators, even scientists, name them, they discovered many formulas and many things when they were young. Okay, when they had that opportunity, they ensured that they exerted and explored in the areas of their strength and their intelligence and innovations and geniuses and the like. So being young gives you a chance of time, okay, where you'll be able to do so much things even as you grow. So within purpose, don't worry, you still have a chance, but earlier better.
I think the message I'm getting there is that we need to take deliberate steps to discover our purpose, to be intentional about discovering that, and not just sitting and waiting, say, okay, time will come and then I'll feel it.
And actually, you must remember that you are youngest today than you will ever be again. Tomorrow you'll be older than you are today. And when you are young, you have the energy, you have the chance. We are talking specifically about men. You know, there's a research that Napoleon Hill, one of these famous writers, produces in a book, this famous book about Think and Grow Rich. The book Think and Grow Rich. In that book, it details that they did a research to find out why is it that men begin to succeed in their 40s. The majority of men, if even in our country, if you see someone driving a V8 of my size, you'll be wondering, proceeds of crime, proceeds of crime or minerals they are stealing. It's because that research produced certain details that show that men in their 20s, between 20 to 39, men spend much of their energy chasing women, sleeping around. And even when they are doing that, they are lacking purpose and direction. And when they reach 40, then their brain flips. Now they want to settle down. They want to be serious about things. They begin now to concentrate. And that is the challenge that we have even in this young generation today. Go out there, you find young men are focused on sex. Young men are focused. That's why we have, even when you go on Facebook, check the even young girls. The reels that are there, it's about bam, bam, all these kinds of things. We find that the world is drifted in that direction. That's why we have a lot of men who are living purposeless. They are failing to lead their families. Because this young man is starting a family, he has no direction. Always focused. Even when he starts a family, he's focused on other girls again. So it is important for us to stabilize the foundation of this society. You know, men are very pivotal as far as the establishment of society is concerned. You agree with me, you are a married man. You agree with me that women, no matter how stable they are, they need a guide.
Yes.
That is the truth. Unless you are not dating and you have never dated. And even the ones that you see that they are very powerful and successful, get down to them. You realize that they need that leader. A leader of purpose. They need direction. Actually, most men run away from established women because they have no purpose. They feel intimidated. When a man of purpose meets a lady who is established, there is progress. Even the lady will feel, these are the men that we need. So what I'm trying to communicate is, as a society, for us to have a generation that, or to see stability, we need to focus even on the young boy. Let those boys be exposed to things that shape them for the better, things that drive them to understand about purpose, things that make them realize that being a boy and developing into man, it's not about you developing a muscle, six-pack and drinking 4 bottles of beer. It is about you having a direction, living by your conviction, and meaning what you say, and living by your word. That is what makes a real man, and that is what will make a difference in our society.
Then just to add on, there's a research that was done by one psychologist, where it was established that most young people are in a state of what he calls doing nothingism, a state of doing nothing. It's actually, they feel nice just to sit, watch a movie, and doing nothing. Now, do you know what that does? It is actually one state which is very dangerous. It wastes your time. Actually, your life is attached to time. If you do nothing in a space of 1 year, you will have lost a lot that you would have achieved in a space of 5 years. So, if you in that state, it simply means that you are not even trying to make effort to discover your purpose. And most young people are in that state. Most young men are in that state, to a point where when they are faced with intense pressure, they're faced with intense challenges, all they resort to is suicide or blaming their families. No, in our family, we are just meant to be poor. No, in our giving those rationalized excuses and the like. So it becomes a challenge and very difficult to help such an individual. We encourage most young people not to be in that state of doing nothing. Be busy. Life is about doing and doing and doing and doing stuff, not just being seated. Okay, don't enjoy life without doing anything. Then there's the other thing which we need to consider. Understand the science of balancing your life, a state of equilibrium. You know when to do certain things and when not to do certain things. Okay, you can balance everything. You can be an academician, you can be an entrepreneur, you can do sport, you can do everything. So life must be planned in a certain way that everything is done without hindering the other. Know the most urgent thing in your life. Know the most important things in your life. Know the things that you need now and the things you need tomorrow. As a man, that is why we see many young people failing to plan for their lives. For your own information, I have got a 30-year personal strategic plan. What I want to achieve in the next 30 years, categorized in detail. If it's money, if it's what, put them in all those details. I've got a 5-year strategic plan. And I also have a 1-day plan where you plan for tomorrow and the like. What I'm simply saying here, I'm giving an example of how you can begin doing stuff, is ensuring that you understand how you can be in a state of equilibrium, a state of balance where you're now able to plan for your life. It simply means you understand who you want to become and what you want to achieve here on earth. It will even help you to be out of that state of doing nothingism and the like. It will help you even understand how you can impact lives, how you can enter the spaces of other individuals and influence them. Take, for instance, like these books that are being authored by Mr. Muson and the one I'm also authoring. It will enter in certain bedrooms, probably even of the president, which I may not even physically enter. You get the point? Now, this was authored because I was busy doing something. I was busy planning and the like. So I've authored the book that is going to impact somebody out there in a space I'll never be physically there because I've been busy establishing myself, busy doing something, busy reading books and the like, developing myself to a point where I can impact anyone regardless of who they are in society. That's the step we need to reach as young people. Yeah.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, I think we have to go. But then before I can release you, I'll just give you a minute each to just speak to a man out there who is still struggling to find their purpose. Just a few words, if you can, and then you can talk about the books and also where, if one is interested. So this is very wonderful. This is Start Smarter, Not Harder. I love this. Love the title, Pursuing Unbeatable Pursuit. So maybe you can just share a little bit more about where these books are available at, as you share your last words.
Okay, so let me begin with the last words. As a man, life is never easy. As a man, you're facing a world where the world expects so much from you, and that puts a lot of frustration on all men. I'm a man, and I'm speaking from experience. As a man, you're gonna face challenges where women reject you and you feel less manly. But one thing that I should assure you is that if you're a man of purpose, all that which people say, no matter how society treats you, you will rise up, you will stand firm and create a difference. So, whether you are a parent, you are a father, the encouragement is that if you have not yet discovered your purpose, begin to discover it. Commit to discovering it. Because if you don't do that, the vacuum that you have, nothing will fill it. And even generations to come will testify that you are a man who was manless. And that is, those are my last words. Then just to mention these books, this small book here, pocket book, it helps you on how to study smart. We have challenges, like pupils, students, wow. Challenges. memory improvement, this book helps you, and it is very cheap actually, just 50 kwacha. You can actually, how do you get it? How do you get in touch with us? You can search for us, Asset, or you can actually search for my name on Facebook and LinkedIn and TikTok, Matthews Msonda, and you will find all the contact details where you can grab these books. We were talking about purpose. This big book here talks about how you can discover your purpose in details, how you can live your purpose, even when you have lived a life of mistakes, where you have made and wasted much of your life. This book is the book that will guide you, and it is just 200 kwacha. It will guide you, and it will give you a perspective that you will never regret.
Thank you.
Thank you. My last words. I'll speak to men out there. Now, if you are a man, you must understand that you are a leader. Okay? There's one important aspect which everyone believes in, that leaders are born, and I believe that. But one thing I believe is that great leaders are made. So if you are a man and you identify your leadership potential, it will be very easy for you to exert your purpose. Wherever you are, people expect you to make choices on their behalf, because you are a leader, you are born leader, and through experiences you'll be made a great leader. So you must reach a point where you have the ability to make choices on behalf of people. Progress is only seen when there's a man who has got the ability to make choices, not only simple choices, but tough choices. Life is hard. You can face different challenges, but life will still expect you to make a choice. So ensure you exert and use your ability to make right choices so that your purpose can be fully defined and you can fulfill what you want. Don't worry about what people say about you, the things you have done before. Don't worry about how people define you. The definition about you which people know is not who you are, but about what you know about yourself is what you are. Don't worry about what the community expects from you. The question is, are you able to give the community much impact and necessary influence out there? Many people are looking up to you. Today you may seem like you are nothing, but tomorrow if you make the right choices, you are bold enough to make the right choices, then indeed you're going to make the right influence. Then lastly, I would say, you see, as a man, you're expected to have wisdom. Okay? Even as you exert your influence and fulfill your purpose, you need to have wisdom. You must apply your wisdom, number one, in the 4 categories. You must apply your wisdom in kindness, be a kind man. Apply your wisdom in boldness, be a bold man. When you see something that you don't believe in, don't just bend your tail. Stand up for it, speak, and make a difference. People like Martin Luther King made a difference because they applied wisdom in boldness, spoke out, and the world listened. And today we know Martin Luther. Apply wisdom in compassion. Be a man of compassion. Apply wisdom in humility. Be a man of humility. No matter what you are going to achieve, apply that. Lastly, apply wisdom in love. Be a man of love. Love the community. Love yourself first. And the measure of love that you exert upon yourself will be seen in how you love others out there. I think that's what I can say and encourage somebody out there.
Wow. Thank you so much. And allow me to add the 5th one. Be a man of empathy. Be empathetic. I think that's very important.
Sure.
Thank you for those words of wisdom. As we come to the end of this episode of the podcast, thank you so much for joining. I think I've learned so much from you, gentlemen, and I'm glad that you accepted the invitation to join. And I hope that I think this deserves a part 2, or probably something else that we can talk about. But I'm really glad that you could join us. Thank you. This has been the Crisis of Manhood podcast, where we unpack those deep conversations about manhood. And today's topic was looking at purpose and finding fulfillment for men. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and also if this information has been very impactful to you, please pass it on. Share. Thank you so much. This has been your host, Peter Mkuka. Bye for now.
I keep it inside of me. Yeah, I keep it inside. It's killing the man in me. Yeah, it's killing the man. Keep it inside, I keep it inside of me.